Thanks for picking up food, man.
Dude, I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
What do you like about the Palenque Bowls? I saw it. I have never gotten one.
And you were like, what is this slop?
No, bro. I feel like I started working out more consistently recently, and I feel like that's like the perfect meal.
Yeah, and that's precisely why I've been getting that. You know, I feel like I've just been having a lot more like bowls.
Yeah,
bowls, mainly to cut out the. The carb aspect of having stuff in bread and
definitely
tortillas and stuff. But
because it's literally just like bean, rice,
and
meat.
It's not too different from what you would expect from like it's just a protein
bowl.
Yeah, bowl basically,
and then the carbs from the rice.
Yeah, and it's not.
It looked really good.
Yeah, and it doesn't make you feel too heavy. That one was very like soupy, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
So,
it was definitely soupy.
When I lied. I have gotten a Palenque bowl in the past. I've gotten it at the one that's on the other side.
Oh yeah, okay.
Kind of more south.
Yeah.
And it was really soupy, and I was like, "Is this supposed to be like that?"
The beans. The beans just add a lot of the soupiness. That's
okay, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's good. I literally just had a chicken bowl from Chipotle yesterday too.
Yeah. So that was another place too.
Yeah,
Like,
so I'm just like stocking up on bowls.
Yeah,
bowls.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of
my
health,
big bowls.
Let's go. No, dude. There's something about like I've been really in that reframing mindset, path, or on this reframing mindset path where it's just like, how am I going to be eating?
Yeah.
Or
are you all still doing Pilates?
So I remember. I don't know if I told you I had gotten hurt.
Yeah, the injury.
But it wasn't really actually. Oh, it was an injury, but it wasn't like as bad as like in my mind I thought it was, and also Nicole was concerned too because there was referred pain that was a little bit suspicious. But no, bro, my doctor just told me, "Oh no, bro, you're just really like tight in that whole area because you don't stretch."
It's like, well, thank you.
Nice. No, like
it's gonna be that kind of. It's gonna be that kind of episode.
Yeah.
I get that though because I think I mentioned before Kayla does personal training, so she does a lot of stretching and stuff. And she was like, "Hey, come stretch with me," and we were kind of getting warmed up and stuff. There are things that will not move.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of working it up. But like that's the thing; it's gradual. You do it. And yeah, my doctor like recommended like some specific stretches to like get my hip flexors like where they need to be like for like especially that type of like exercise because it's all like hip and leg exercises for the most part. But timing wise, it's just it's hard, man. Like me and Nicole's schedules are very different.
Yeah. So I don't. No, when we've talked about having a balance of stuff, right? We've talked about like mental health and music, and these are obviously the things that we're most focused on with the podcast, for instance. But I feel like on top of that, it's all the other stuff of like, well, how do you make time to, like
go exercise,
work out? How do you make time for recreational stuff and like just the whole balance? And it's very much like Tetris, a game of Tetris.
I also feel like like eating the quick bad meals is also like a time constraint thing too. It's like, all right, well, I just need something quick.
100%, yeah.
Quick and that's going to be filling. And usually when it's quote unquote filling, it's that it's like the dirtiest meal possible.
And you're going to be hungry again probably because it's all empty calories.
Yeah,
like, there's no actual nutrition.
Yeah, exactly.
How do we become a health podcast?
I thought we were a mental health.
Oh, that's right. Welcome to the monthly music and mental health meetup, or as I like to call it. Mm-hmm.
No, we need to do harmony.
Mm-hmm. Is it?
No, do one.
Mm-hmm.
No, just hold it.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, so I was trying to explain the podcast yesterday to one of my coworkers, and I was like, well, originally we called it Nothing at All because we thought it was going to be about nothing, like a Seinfeld-esque podcast. Like, what's the deal with podcasts? You get a microphone, and anyways, and then. And then I was like, well, no. And then you don't. And then after a while, it was like, well, no, all we're talking about really is music and mental health to a certain degree. So, I don't want to change the name of the podcast, but it's just weird how it became something that we didn't expect it to be, but also, I mean, why else would it be anything else?
Yeah.
This is what we talk about, so.
Yeah.
But
and wrestling.
And sometimes we'll talk about wrestling. We were talking about wrestling right before.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I remember, I think the most intense period of wrestling dedication I ever had was like, I think it was like from the ages of 9 to like 13, you know, and it was like
hard.
It was just, and it was super competitive because this was when WCW and
this is the Monday Night Wars.
This was the Monday Night Wars. So, you know, I feel like I rode the wave when it was really hot. It was becoming like the thing, you know, and then you go off and you get interested in other stuff. But man, it's still so much fun to watch, like stuff from back then and older stuff, and
it's the theater of it.
Oh man, yeah. We just always talking about the drama. Yeah, exactly.
The drama. Like, I mean, it's funny, dude. Like, I was telling Nicole that I was, I was so nervous for everybody in WrestleMania, not because I care about like the characters or the storylines. I'm nervous for them.
Right.
Oh, like, please don't botch, or like,
sure.
Know, like, and just like,
because this is what you live for. I mean, WrestleMania is the thing, you know.
And they're really like tearing down the curtain with it too. Like, there's like now a new show that they're gonna come out with where it's called I forgot what it was called, but basically they're gonna show you how they come up with storyline, all the backstage stuff, and when they do pitches, and it's like a reality show of wrestling,
the making of wrestling, basically.
Yeah. Because I mean, everybody already knows, bro. Like, you know, like it's like it is.
I think, well, now that the curtain has been pulled back, I think they're just trying to like humanize it as much as possible and be like, hey, look at all the work that goes into it.
I'm there with it. So now it's like if they start changing it to the extent of where, you know, the people that are going to get these opportunities and these storylines are the people that like people connect with as a person, as a human, not necessarily their character.
Yeah.
I'm down with that. I'm okay with it. It's just a modern face of it.
Well, I mean, it does make it easier, I guess, because it's so difficult to keep that characterization going, you know.
Especially, I mean, some people can like do it till they're blue in the face, but there's almost like a meme element to it at that point where it's like, oh, well, you know, I know you're playing like a character. Like,
but again, I feel like everything just comes in cycles because, you know, again, when I was growing up, my favorite wrestler was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah. And everybody, I mean, in the Attitude Era. Exactly. Everybody would always say, all we're doing is exaggerated versions of who we actually are.
Yeah. And if you really think about it, man, that's kind of what, you know, making music is about too. That's kind of, well, look,
full circle.
Full circle. Yeah, the Segway King, Paul Blart. No,
you said something interesting. I don't know if this is where you're going with it, but you said that a lot of times the musicians that stick out are the ones that have a character.
Yes, I feel like right now in our modern age, and this totally ties in for me with wrestling too. I feel like, you know, before I go into that, I feel like any type of quote unquote theater or like you know, performance, anything, and even to some extent, kind of, you know, dips into politics in some ways and stuff. The idea, the what is it? The carnival-esque nature of wrestling,
the
pageantry of wrestling, kind of spills over into a lot of different types of like mediums,
for sure.
Because that's kind of like it's a reflection of you know, man and society, and the way like man engages with society as a whole. You know what I mean? What they do with their life, and you know, you know, trying to like accomplish what you want in the face of adversity or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think with music, I'm starting to kind of like see this thing where it's like if I'm going to be putting stuff out, it has to be less about me and more about the idea of what I'm trying to convey, and that also kind of, to me, that kind of comes into fruition as like a character, not really a character, but just like you're making this like
snapshot
of this moment in time of who you are in this moment, but you got to be really cognizant of how you're trying to convey that message, you know what I mean? I've been watching a lot of like old Foo Fighters stuff, like I've been back and forth with them for a bit now, like I mean, they're my favorite band, but Dave cheating on his wife was not cool. And I don't know. Like, I haven't really been into like the last couple albums.
But again, I mean, he is we're all flawed individuals. Yeah. So how can we expect him to?
I think. Well, see, so that's kind of what I'm talking about. I think you kind of forget that sometimes there has to be a little bit of that disconnect to some extent with who you are and what you're doing as an artist.
Okay.
I'm now of the mentality is like, you know, there's you and then there's the artist, It's not the same person. I don't think it's the same person.
Okay.
I think it's very difficult to be yourself and also be an artist. I kind of don't think that exists. Hot take. And anybody who's really good at it has an excellent character. Or they just forget who they are and they become the character.
Yeah. I mean, so, oh man, I can't help but like be pretentious about my references. But there's that quote by Oscar Wilde, who always would say, man is least himself, or man, I think it's something like, give him a mask and he'll tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. But he's least comfortable with the truth when he's himself. So you have to have some kind of like artifice. Mm-hmm. There has to be something that's just sort of premeditated, or like you put on a show to actually get the point across.
I've seen somewhere where they say that the only time you're truly yourself is when you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and in your thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's like the only time that you're truly yourself.
Right.
When, you know, you get that kind of like bias of like, okay, I'm with this person.
Right.
I gotta kind of like not reduce, but like, or to some extent, like minimize who I truly am. You know what I mean? Which I don't think is always a bad thing. It's just, you're just being considerate of like others and like the space you're in and, you know, whatever. But,
I mean, because you, as I've talked about this specifically with a friend of mine, and she and I both agree that like, yeah, if you're gonna be an artist or if you're gonna be some kind of contributor, right, of creativity, you have to have kind of an inflated sense of yourself.
Yeah.
You obviously have to buy into your own hype.
Yeah.
So that way you actually have the wherewithal to like put it out there and say it. Wherewithal?
Yeah. Hey, wait.
What?
Did we talk about this last time? I was like, I've never heard that. Like,
oh no, I don't think we talked about this.
Okay, never mind.
Do you know? Are you not familiar with that?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I do now. I'm sorry. I was talking about this with Julian. I remember we were hanging out, and I was like, dude, Adi had said this word in the podcast, and I've never heard this before.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
But no, like that was great. Yeah, like no, like I like that.
It's literally just as long as you have the awareness.
Yeah, the wherewithal, the capacity.
The capacity, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
I thought that was great. I was like, oh my god, like that's such a like. I feel fancy.
I just got to throw out my $3 words.
Yeah, my mom says that same thing.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, you have to buy into your own hype. You have to be able to like say like this is worth people listening to. But you had an interesting take yesterday, I think, because I sent you a clip from Adam Duritz from the Counting Crows, and he was talking about this struggle of being an artist, and you kind of seemed like you. And I'm not saying like I liked your take. I want to talk about it because you know, obviously, when I heard him talking about the struggle of the artist and, you know, like what that means. And it's not supposed to be fun all the time and it's not supposed to be easy. And that's the difference between a passion and a hobby.
To let me flip that back to wrestling. You know why I don't like Cody Rhodes?
Oh, why is that?
He's the hero we don't need, but he thinks we need.
Okay.
I hate that like white knight kind of like, I'm going to save you from whatever it is you need saving from.
So if I'm tracking you correctly, it sounds like you're comparing this kind of like an unnecessary hero to like the person that sees themselves as like, oh, I'm an artist.
I'm an artist.
I have a wider perspective on society.
Yeah, and it's my duty to
interpret that and translate it for you.
And it's like, bro, like to me that there's such a disconnect in artistry at that point. It's like, bro, like, no one needs you to do that.
Right.
Like, no one is going to be like, oh my God, I'm not going to survive unless the guy from Counting Crows, like, gives me some kind of perspective. Fuck you. Like, no, bro. Like, go fucking... What did I say? I was like, instead of dating Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston, data check to a food bank. Like, I don't know, man. It's just, like, and I feel like I'm starting to like cross like moments, like conversations I'm having with people. Were we talking about navel gazing the other day?
No.
Okay,
but I'm here for it.
Okay. I was gaming with Julian, and he's like, have you ever heard of the word navel gazing? And I was like, yes, but I don't know what it means.
Right.
So we Googled it, and I was just like, it's like you're like referencing like basically somebody who's like so like
in their head
about like their consequences, and somebody comes in and like, oh, if we can stop all the navel gazing, but they're saying it from the perspective of like there's greater things.
Yes, yeah.
Like
it's basically a kind of like a tongue-in-cheek way of saying like
there's bigger.
You're too self-centered, you're too self-involved,
and there's bigger matters at hand.
Yeah, because you're just kind of staring down. It's not too different, interestingly, from like how shoegazing came into the lexicon, because it's like, these guys don't even appreciate music on a level enough to like look up and enjoy it. They're just like looking at that they're all down and depressed.
That's why they call it the scene that celebrates itself.
Right.
That's why they call it that. Right,
yeah. Right. It insists on itself.
Tends to just exist in a way. Yeah, man, it's just there's something about that. Like, I don't know if that's just a reflection of like where we're at with like society and stuff, but I just feel like, and I've told you many times, man, like I have such a back and forth with like what I'm trying to do, like music wise and art wise, because I myself don't see myself as an artist. Like I just make music. I happen to have the skill in which I can do it, and I have fun, and I do my thing, and it's what it is.
Yeah.
I just do it to an extent where it's like, instead of, getting high or drinking or gambling or being sexually promiscuous, I just make songs.
This is your, yeah.
Yeah. I just, this is the way I like offset my anxiety. It's just like,
sure.
I feel like I've been indoors for 36 hours. Let me do something.
Right. It's how you get your endorphins. Or you try to, yeah,
exactly,
because that's all we're really trying to do. Everybody is just
and we start at the top of this, it was just kind of like we're talking about like food, we're talking about exercise and stuff, and it's just kind of like that to me was the things that you start ignoring those things, and you start trying to fill those holes with like this idea of like, oh my God, how is anybody gonna survive without my take on this?
And it's a weird compromise. Because you almost have to take yourself out of it enough to say nobody needs this, but still be self-aware, self-centered, maybe, to be like, I need this. This is for me. This is how I survive. If other people can vibe on it or get something out of it, great.
Yeah.
But this is the void that I'm choosing to fill.
Yeah. It's funny because like, that was a reel you sent me, right? It was like a snippet of that.
Yeah. It was a conversation. He was actually talking to Rick Beato.
Yeah. So no, there's another video that Rick put out yesterday with Tim Pierce.
Oh, okay.
You know who Tim Pierce is?
He's
a session
ring a
guitar player.
Okay.
He played on Iris.
Oh, nice.
Google
Okay.
Dolls.
Gotcha.
Like a bunch of different things.
Okay.
He's great. But they were talking about the music industry. They were talking about like basically in a nutshell, like how jobs are getting eliminated just due to sheer like just the changing of the industry, what I mean? Or like almost the more privatization of like the industry, because people, I guess they started the conversation with like he just named off a bunch of studios in LA.
Okay.
And how they're either defunct or they've been bought by like hyper famous people. So like Stevie Wonder like apparently owns one now. And he has more money than probably
then he knows what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Another one was John Mayer got with like another guy, and they bought like a really popular studio that's just theirs now. Sure. It's not a commercial anymore. It's not a commercial studio. So it's kind of like you see this flip happening where it's just like, these places used to employ people. The function of certain people were like, I work at this studio because I'm really good at getting drum sounds,
right?
Or I'm really good at getting guitar tones, or I'm really good at keeping maintenance on like the outboard gear, or whatever, what have you,
right?
But the whole idea of that was like, Tim gave this advice where it was like, my best advice that I could give to anybody that's young right now making music is that you need to do, your music needs to be and music. I'm this and music.
A musician, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, and that's kind of what he feels is like the modern day artist has to be and an artist.
Gotcha.
I am a state employee and an artist.
Right.
Because it's just not made that way. Dude, what were we talking about? Like, I sent you like a meme of it was like people's things in 2015, and it was just like, the ice bucket challenge. And
that's right.
And then like
today's challenge is like having like a perfect work-life balance or whatever.
And then it was like also like I also can't afford a house.
It's like, how am I gonna pay for a taco or something?
And I think I told you, I was like, it's funny, man. It's because like I think our generation just has hit a point where it's like, it's the new age. It's excess has been eliminated. You know what I mean? The American dream to kind of exploded, or the bubble bursted to some extent. You know what I mean? People had so much excess. You know what I mean? And this
you're sounding like the comedian from The Watchmen right now.
Really?
When they were like, "What happened to the American dream?" It was like, it came true. You're looking at it. It's just like riots in the streets, and I mean,
it's because it's crazy, man. It's just like you can only sell so much shit.
Yeah.
To where like that's it. There's no more shit to sell.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now it's just like experiences are fleeting and things are fleeting, and it's just like, there's this one Modest Mouse lyric that always pops into my head every time I talk about this. When they were making the second album, around that time, they were like the reflection of Lonesome Crowded West was, in his words, were like they were mall fucking the West.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just over excess, over abundance.
Yeah, and let's destroy all this, like land, or let's like
It's funny that you're bringing this up, because for some reason earlier, I think it was yesterday or this morning, so all of a sudden the phrase "lonesome crowded West" pop into, like, I'm not even kidding, like, out of nowhere. I was like, I know we've talked about that. I know that's something. I forgot it's a Modest Mouse album.
It's the second album, and the whole premise is just like, yeah, dude, it's like the excess. You know what I mean? Let's pray for paradise, put up a parking lot type shit. Yeah, like literally, like, and that's kind of like the premise of the whole album. It's like, right
back to Counting Crows.
Full circle. Yeah.
Joni Mitchell, though, she was the original.
But I really like Adam Duritz.
Yeah. Except for that take.
Except for that dumbass, like, people need me to be an artist.
He seems like the type, and maybe that's not what he meant. But
it's because he got rid of his dreads. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
He was more cool with his white man dreads.
That took all his juju. He lost his mojo.
Yeah, his mojo. Oh, dude, I don't want to go.
So she said, "What's the problem?"
I was gonna go on another tangent because, like, I was like, there's a joke at work right now where I'm like, so I went to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
I keep saying that, like, I'll start, like, because you know how, like, I was in Vegas.
In Vegas.
It's getting annoying at this point. There's this one Austin Powers scene where he's just like, "There you are," and he's like,
"Oh yeah, hey, do I know you? No, but there you are. You're there." I just saw that movie again. I forgot how amazing that movie was, man.
That's my only bit to that. But, to go back to the Modest Mouse thing, is
seriously, though, if you keep watching that scene, you'll notice that the extra that plays the guy that's like, "Do I know you?" He stays looking at him for so long, so confused and like annoyed. It's probably the best acting of an extra in anything, because he's just like, and then somebody comes along, he's like, "This guy just came up to." So, anyways, I'm sorry. So you were in Vegas?
No, okay. So coming back to the whole Modest Mouse thing, like the whole idea of living in excess, and the lyric in Teeth Like God's Shoe Shine. Mm-hmm. Which is, I think, is supposed to be like indicative of like a salesman.
Can you just imagine people that have no concept of indie music or a lot of the things that we talk about, hearing the combination of things that we're throwing at them?
Wrestling,
Modest Mouse lyrics, even just the title of that song is what again?
Teeth Like God's Shoe Shine.
Can you imagine somebody being like, what is happening?
Yeah, like, yeah, it's just great. But the lyric is like, "Do you need a lot of what you got to survive?"
Oh, okay.
And I really like that. Do you need a lot of what you got to survive? And I think the idea is just that it's like there's all this, like, I guess just like a take on like capitalism. It's just like, there's just so much excess, bro. You don't need all this shit. I don't need you to give me your opinion on music, Adam Duritz.
Sure. Yeah. Man, he's like,
I'm like all mad about it.
He's like our focus today. Yeah. His ears are burning.
Yeah, he's like very little though.
He's probably
he has a little zit on his ass.
He's recording music right now. He's like, what's this?
What's something? So you're saying it's bad enough.
Long December.
This is. We're gonna get like copyright strikes.
Probably. I am ready. I am ready. Anyways.
But yeah, I like that. I always think about that when we're talking about like excess and stuff, and just like, and Tim Pierce's quote of like, you need to be an and artist, or and a musician. It's like, that's just a reflection of our modern age, bro. It's just like there's not any more excess.
Yeah.
There's not. There really isn't. You know what I mean? The bubble bursted. The American dream bubble bursted. It's like you kind of have to do what your main thing is. That's gonna like give you your home, feed you, do whatever else you need to do before you can take time to make music.
Sure.
And and God bless people that can like do music and that's all they do and stuff, but deep down they have some kind of help, they have some kind of assistance, which is like not to diminish their efforts or whatever, but like that's very fortunate of them. That's very good. Have this idea of gratitude for being able to do that, because that's not everybody's
it's a situation. It's a privilege,
and that's why I don't like what Adam Duritz said, bro, because he's speaking from the perspective of one of those type of people, which is I get to do this full circle, without having to think about anything else,
right? Where my money's coming from, or
and if things are getting paid and if everything's taken care of, like that's very fortunate of you.
And if they are having to worry about that stuff, talk about that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like not enough people talk about the struggle. They always paint it as the artistic struggle, but hey, talk about the economic struggle. Talk about
the human struggle.
The human struggle, like how some days you don't want to wake up at all, or like you don't want to get out of bed. Talk about how it's just such a grind to be beholden to the machine that wants you to keep on cranking things out, whether it's labor or whether it's art or something. Like somewhere somebody is always wanting you to keep cranking and grinding.
Yeah, dude, and that to me, and that could just very much be Triple H, bro, because I see, to me, I'm sold on these people that like, fuck, bro, they gotta drive like miles and miles and miles to get to the next city, and then like take bumps and ruin their body and be in front of so many people and be excellent and perform excellently, and then go do it again and again and again and again and have like zero time off.
So this sounds like we're basically focused on today's being at the mercy of the machine, of whatever it is. And it goes all the way, we just keep on like, there's always somebody benefiting from what we're doing, obviously. Yeah. And one is to keep on grinding. Why get in our own way,
It's just, I feel, and again, it just goes back to our first episode, dude. I feel grateful that we get to do this,
right?
Because this has, and it was very hard for a long time, because I always felt like I had to do it
to do music,
and that was I feel like the struggle that me and you had for a long time, bro.
Right.
Like I feel like we had it was a kindred spirit, like because it was. You felt like you were supposed to, because it was going to be some kind of like, this is going to be the thing that's going to like solve everything. And it was like,
give me direction,
provide, like clarity and perspective. And it's just like, it's not, man, that's not what it's for.
Yeah.
It's not a tool like that.
Right.
It's something that like you get to like, relax with and enjoy and immerse yourself in, you know what I mean?
Well, and that brings me to something that we were talking about right before we got started today, and something that you wanted to ask me about, because I had told you like, I think I've gotten into a headspace where I just don't care as much.
And explain to me, like I want you to answer two things for me.
Okay.
When you say care, what do you mean by care? What fuels this meaning, like, of this word? Like when you say care, like what does that mean? Like what are you doing that means that you care?
So I think the better way to describe it is that I feel less affected by certain things. Mm-hmm. Like there used to be a point very recently where it was always about, why am I not getting what's coming to me?
Like you feel like you're owed something.
Right. Which is a terrible way to look at it, because what have I done to put that out into the universe and actually get it back? In terms of like my creativity. I'm barely getting stuff that I recorded in 2012 on streaming.
Yeah.
And I can be 100% honest and say that I'm not putting it on streaming even because I want to get something out of it. I just want to have it out there. I just want to put it out in the universe and say, well, when I'm gone, it'd be nice to know that this is still there for anybody to find. Whatever happens, I don't care. I just want to know that I put in this work a couple of years ago, and some other things that I've recorded in the recent past, and just to have it out there.
I hate to tie this into gambling.
That's okay. Yeah. You were in Vegas.
I was in Vegas, by the way. I don't know if you know this, right?
Yeah. Do I know you?
But there you are.
There you are. No.
I hate to tie this into gambling, but this is funny, man. Because, like, mind you, like, I kind of didn't want to go on this trip only because I'm still kind of in, like, I feel like even at the time I was still in my pandemic funk where I don't want to do anything. I don't want to leave my home, but I need to. I need to go do stuff because it really is. It is a reset.
I think I feel like you've mentioned that a couple of times.
Yeah, and I don't ever like really like sit down to be like, no, I need to go do this thing because it's gonna reset me.
Right.
And I don't realize that I need resetting in the moment.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people don't. Yeah, that's
one of those things.
That's understandable.
But I had to explain gambling like to people a couple times because it was just kind of like I don't see what you like enjoy about it. Like, it's not fun. It's not fun. And
like they couldn't understand it
because their aspect of it is like you're wasting all this money and
on the chance that
that you may win money.
Right.
And I'm like, no, that's a wrong perspective to have. That's a gambling addict's perspective. Like,
okay.
Like I didn't like budget money. Like, all right, I'm gonna go spend $100, $200, $300 on gambling because I'm hoping that I'm gonna walk out with more money. Okay. That's an addict's mentality. That's crazy because that means once I spend $100, I'm like, oh shit, I'm down $100. I need to make it back somehow.
Right.
That's how you become a gambling.
So you keep getting yourself in the hole.
Yeah. And that's how you screw yourself over.
Right.
No, I'm going with $100 because I don't have this $100. I'm gonna go enjoy myself. I'm gonna go play, and on the off chance that I win something cool.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be entertained.
Right.
It's a game of chance.
Sure.
It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go like pay off all this shit because I won money. Like, bro, that's like. And it goes back to this one quote I remember of that Sinai Vessel guy, like that was like I had to reframe my perspective with music because it's like I can't keep having this mentality of like getting mad at myself because I didn't win the lottery.
Right.
That's the same thing with gambling. It's like I can't keep getting mad at myself because I'm not winning, and it's like you're not supposed to go into it with that mentality. That's an addict's mentality.
Right.
So think about that, dude. It's like you can't keep trying to put stuff out or make content or like make music or do anything with the expectation of like I'm owed this shit.
Sure.
I need this outcome to happen.
It's just about the experience.
Yeah. It's about the experience.
Because to me the idea of like games of chance or gambling or whatever, it almost really is this more concrete symbol for what life already is, right? Because everything's a chance, everything's a gamble, right? Well, because the only reason I'm taking this ridiculous, pretentious perspective is because I want to understand, like, what do people get out of it? You know, it's obviously a lot of stress for a lot of people. It does cause addiction and all these things. But what are people engaging in it for? Obviously, the majority are engaging in it because they want the opportunity to make that money. The problem is that a lot of people aren't aware that you're kind of doomed from the start. These things are designed
to make you lose.
Exactly.
Think about it this way. Think about when you like think about alcohol, bro.
Right.
Like oh man, we're going off this addiction like tangent. Think about alcohol
on a
bro.
very special episode.
When you have alcohol, bro, it's to like enjoy something. You know what I mean? You're doing it because it's like, oh, this is gonna be like a one-off thing. I'm gonna drink.
Right.
Like have a drink with in a social environment.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that could easily turn into I'm having a drink every day.
Right. To feel better.
But
yeah, I know what you're saying, and it's funny because I think I've mentioned several times that I'm drinking less and less.
Yeah.
And so I think the point that I was making to Kayla is that I told her, like, I want to drink because I'm having a good time. I don't want to drink to have a good time. Yeah.
Yes, bro.
So
yes,
I think everything would be hopefully a little bit more constructive and far better for people if it was because they're already having a good time. Hey, so I'm gonna gamble a little bit because
I'm just gonna go entertain myself.
Right, and if something happens, oh cool. Man, awesome. If it doesn't, I'm fine. I know how to cut myself off.
This is the problem with it, bro. It's the one vice that gives you back what you put in.
Yeah.
That's the only advice. That's the only vice that exists like that, where it's just like if I put in money, I have the possibility of getting that money back,
right,
and more,
yeah.
What a motherfucker, bro. That's why it's like so addicting.
Yeah. And so that's what was begging the question for me is like, other than the prospect of money, you know, it really does seem like an exploitation of people's addiction, you know, to want to get something for nothing or to get more back than they put in and to not fall into a hole.
But isn't that all vices?
I mean,
for
yeah,
the most part,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
and so I was trying to understand if there is some kind of poetic way to rationalize gambling. I don't know if that's the case.
No, there's not, man, because there's no poetic way to rationalize drinking or any vice for that matter, bro. It's just something you get to do.
Right.
Not because
just like everything else.
Yeah, exactly. It's just another thing that exists.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another brick in the wall. That's not probably what that song's about, but
songs that have child choruses, Kayla hates those.
I hate them too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're all like with their Cockney accent. Education.
Thoughts control. Coming from the guy.
Do I know you?
Hey, do I know you?
No, but there you are.
No, you're there. Oh my goodness.
I mean, I want to say this. I want to just break it here in the middle and just be like, I'm having really fun with this episode.
Yeah,
we haven't had an episode in a while.
We haven't. Yeah, it's like I think it's 1 week later than we normally.
True.
We normally put one out.
I keep thinking we do this every week.
Yeah, this monthly. I honestly like the monthly approach because it obviously we get to accumulate like experiences that have been going on. But yeah, I had a feeling that this one was going to be a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah. That's because all the fucking gambling and drinking we're doing.
Because you were in Vegas. Yeah. So. To tie it into the music stuff, what has been going on? We've got a couple of shows coming up, right?
Dude.
Are you excited for those?
I am very excited, dude. I've had moments, and I think this is where I feel like I've learned a lot about myself, having not played shows for a bit.
Okay.
This is actually the longest I've gone.
I was going to say, what was the last show you played again?
In January 2024 in San Antonio at Shotgun House.
That's right.
That was the last time I played.
That's right.
So it's been more than a year.
Yeah. And probably a lot longer before that, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, actually, because I played in December of 2023 at same place, Shotgun House. They asked us to go back the following month, and we did it.
That's right.
And then earlier that year, I played in Laredo in May.
That's right.
At Frontera.
Pretty sporadic, though.
And then the previous year, yes, it's not this like how I used to do it.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, just the mentality I feel like we have. I keep going back to that one guy's post where it's just like, I have a goal of playing at least 6 shows this year.
Yeah.
And the fact that was a goal, that was just like, I hope to play 6 shows. And I was kind of like, damn, dude, like, we were so spoiled in Laredo. Like, I played like 100 or 150 shows in like 1 year.
Absolutely.
It's insane. Like, but it's just like, we were so fortunate in which to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? But I'm excited, man. I think this is gonna be fun as hell. Like, I feel like I keep catching myself in moments where I'm like, I think in the past I would have stressed myself out so much if I let myself go down this train of thought or like this type of thinking. You know, we haven't really met up to rehearse or anything. There's still a month away.
Yeah.
But I'm not concerned. Like, I mean, I've been jamming with Chase for 3 years. I've been jamming with Raul for 10 years.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
I have no concern that we're not gonna like do at least pretty good.
Sure.
Or you know, and I feel like that's not to diminish like anybody else's like efforts, and not necessarily at the show, but like just in general.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's people I feel like that try really hard, and it's just like it's a struggle for them.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's gonna be the case for us. I feel like we're gonna do pretty good, despite not having like rehearsed a million times up until like that point. But it's just this like idea of like I need to not like put this pressure on either them or myself to be like, no, we need to meet up, guys. We need to do this shit. You know what I mean? Because I know we'll meet up. I don't have to drill their ears about it. I don't have to kick myself in the ass like, oh no, like if I don't say something, we're not gonna do it.
Right.
That's just me not conveying any element of trust in them.
Sure.
That they're having in me. And I can think of times in the past where I'd be like, if I don't drill that into their ears, they're not going to know.
Right.
But that's just me being like, I know and they don't. And that's a bad mentality. Like, that's a really negative mentality to have. Like, I don't want to be this guy that's like, thinking I'm the best or like I'm the most knowledgeable or I'm the most experienced or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or this is my band or whatever.
Right.
And they're not capable of the same things. Like, or like... me thinking like they're not capable of the same things, because they are, man.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody has their own lives. Everybody has their own things going on. It's not my place to be like dictating when their availability is more important than other like moments. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I catch myself and I'm just kind of like, damn, bro, like I feel like I have grown a lot, because I used to get mad about dumb shit, bro, in the past. It's super unnecessary. And ultimately it just made me look bad to my friends, and I would just get myself mad kind of for no reason.
Right.
And it was just extra stress. And it feels nice not to feel like that, because I know no matter what, we're going to do good. And even if we didn't do good, it really doesn't matter, because at least I got to hang out with my friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Why am I going to spoil that?
So I think exactly the perspective that you've got, or the mentality, is tied into what when I say like I'm caring less, it really just means like I'm okay with this. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with the way things are, because I find that the more, you know, like you and I have talked about, the more we try to control stuff, the more miserable we get.
Yeah.
You know, like even something as simple as like, well, hey, I really wanted to play that show. Why is that band getting to play that show? Or why haven't people responded to my emails like to book a show? It's just not as much of a deterrent. Now I'm just like, okay, well, I'll just
on to the next thing.
Yeah, we'll just see what happens. And I don't know. It's just I guess relinquishing control has been the big lesson all over, and it started, you know, a couple of years ago when I feel like I was less stressed out about like with my health anxiety and stuff, and that kind of started going away. Obviously, you still want to be vigilant, but you don't want to stress so much that you give yourself the very health problems that you're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just less anxiety.
Yeah. Put your mind, or like change your focus from the things you actually can control.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can control what you eat. How we're talking about, I was like, hey man, that thing looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I need to start getting that.
Sure.
I scarfed down a double chicken quesadilla, dude.
Which I'm sure was delicious.
So good, but it probably isn't the best thing. Like yours looked really good. I was like, man, that's solid. And I do want to go work out later, or like go running. But it's like, those are things I have control over.
Yeah.
My health.
Yeah.
I have control over. I have literally direct. I can choose what I pick up with my hand and put in my mouth.
Yeah. Or what instrument you want to pick up and play with. You know, whatever the case. Yeah.
Skill wise.
Yeah.
Hey, if I want to get better on drums, I can dedicate time, and I have the ability to go and put any amount of time.
I'm literally sitting at the drums right now.
Yeah, I can put any amount of time I want into that.
Yeah, exactly.
I have control over those things.
Yeah.
You know what I don't have control over? Other people.
Yeah, 100%. Their schedules, their lives, their mentalities, like all that stuff. Yeah, it's just, and again, and this is not to say that it's been easy for either of us, I think. It's just like, hey, finally, it's like
the clarity.
Yeah, just like it really does sometimes happen when you let go, or when you least expect it. Like the same thing has been happening as far as like songwriting. Mm-hmm. You know, I kind of can't remember the last time I sat down to write a song or try to. It's been maybe like a month or two. Mm-hmm. Really not that long in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. But my old mentality is like, why am I not writing something new every week, every day, you know? And finally, I'm like, I mean, I had a good run. I wrote a bunch of songs in a pretty short amount of time a couple of months ago. Like, it's okay to just chill. Like, I have I have 2 hours worth of original material.
Nobody needs you to struggle for me, Adam Duritz.
Yeah. And nobody needs to, you know, I don't need to worry that, you know, I haven't written a song, you know, or the next big hit or whatever.
We don't need
education.
We don't need to send Katy Perry to space, bro.
No, we don't.
We really don't.
Yeah.
And in the same breath,
I know a lot of people were like, "Hey, let's send her to space and never come back. She'll never come back.
She'll never come back." And I think that was the goal. And they fucked up.
It's really terrible. I mean, you know, you almost feel bad for her in some ways.
I don't think she was thinking about it like that.
No, not at all. It's just because that's a cool experience. I mean, we can all say.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. That's that fucking bubble that like that Adam Duritz exists in. Like it's just like. The art, you know, a lot of it's
out of touch.
Yeah, it's you know, for me, this isn't a hobby.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I don't know.
It's hard. No, it's hard. It's. I totally get what you're saying. It's a tough balance to, you know, but that's the thing is that we keep on talking about like having a sense of self that maybe is a little bit more inflated, so you can believe in what you're doing or have the confidence to know what you're doing. But you also don't want to be out of touch. Like you don't want to lose.
Well, see, so like that's where it, like I think there's the difference. You know what I mean? If it's your album, or if it's your song, or if it's a thing you're doing, your project cannot be that tied into yourself.
Right.
One, because when you are truly yourself, it's hard to connect with whoever that person is, because it's like, bro, like when you're alone and you are like truly yourself, that's when you're the most self-indulgent. That's when you're the most characteristic, because it's like.
And probably that's the best way to connect with other people.
Because I 100% disagree.
Do you disagree with that?
I 100% disagree. No. When you are yourself, and especially when you're like 100% yourself, that's when you are the most selfish. That's when almost nobody can connect with you.
But don't you think people could relate to that?
No, not at all. Not at all. The idea of it maybe, but nobody likes to touch on that thing, because when you are yourself, that's for you.
Okay.
That's for you. That's what your moment to be selfish.
So like a protective measure.
Exactly. Okay. Or just because like that's when you're most safe, like for you. Mm-hmm. When you are trying to convey art, you're trying to convey this idea that's gonna like, and in my opinion, that's when you're trying to convey this something that's gonna connect with people.
Right.
This idea that's gonna connect with you, this story that's gonna connect with people.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily have to be you, and I think that's where a lot of like this idea of like, I don't believe you comes into play.
Like the inauthenticity.
The inauthenticity, because you're so focused on like just being that character. You don't have to be that character. It can just be a character.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, do I think Riff Raff is actually like that? I kind of don't think so, bro.
Oh, gotcha.
I think he plays that character, but like I think there's a more like chilled out version of him.
Right.
That's just his like
amped up
media version. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and then obviously there's like a comedic element to it, but it's just like, I think with music and art, like that's where I'm starting to, come at it now. Like, if I'm gonna make something, like, well, I need to think about what I like. And all right, I like Foo Fighters, so this will be the example.
Okay.
I like the Foo Fighters. I've been learning the first album on drums, and I've been learning the first album on drums and guitar, and bass, obviously, and like everything. Because I want to be able to play that album, because I'm trying to put myself in that space that he was in, where he's just like, I'm just gonna record this whole album by myself.
Interesting.
Because I want to be able to do that. Now, is that something I need to convey to other people? Not necessarily, because that's for me.
It's more for you.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But if I'm gonna be putting out a release, and all like the imagery behind it and what I'm trying to like convey as like a project,
right,
that I have to sit down and think about that. Sure. Bro. I have to be like, all right, well, what am I gonna write my songs about? What kind of imagery do I want to like associate with these songs? Like, what kind of like character am I gonna be?
What kind of fine line do you think there is between like consciously making creative decisions before even coming up with something and just kind of letting it flow? Like, what is the balance in that regard? Because
I think people that just let it flow have mastered it at that point, because they know it's a process. You know what I mean? Like, I was sending you that fucking shitty ass music video and that song from that person. And it's so cringy, bro. And it's like, it's so lame, but it's like, but that's why I was saying in like that message where I'm like, it's crazy how even the shitty people have it figured out, because it's like the way it all works, bro. Especially if you're trying to find some kind of audience, because if that's the angle,
okay,
like let's say for example that's the angle. I'm trying to find an audience. I'm trying to build my thing. I want to get a lot of views. I want to get a lot of likes. I want to have my song heard and be in all these different mediums and platforms and whatever.
Right.
There's literally the blueprint right there, bro. You go to a studio, record a really good song, and you record a really good video with a badass videographer.
And we're talking about quality, like the crispness of
the
something.
Crispness,
right.
The Christmas,
the
Christmas of it.
The Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah. So it doesn't, quality of the product itself it's more like this superficial.
Yeah, but I mean, but that's how it's always been.
Yeah.
The type of stuff that I feel like we look at and we're like, we stress out about, and we're just like, I need to like, have this element of control, is because it's almost, that's the idea you're chasing. It's just like, I want to be able to like have a song that's popular, a video that has a lot of views or whatever, right. Because it's not that it's easy to get that, because you don't have a control over that, but
There are certain measures
you need to take to do that, which I can honestly say I have never done.
Right.
So I can never say that I've made a conscious effort to do that, like or walk down that path and try to accomplish that specific goal.
Sure.
Now, can I say I've written a lot of songs for myself that were really just for myself, and maybe people connected with certain things more so people that know me versus strangers. But because I've sold, for example, because I know you like my stuff, dude. I know, like, you know, a couple of my friends like my stuff.
But we also know that people.
But
on the outside.
Well, I don't know if it's. I know that one crazy kid, but like no. As far as like other people, I don't know if they were just using my thing to like amplify whatever they were doing, because it was like, oh well, like I just need to write something on my blog because I need to have content for my blog.
And it fell in line with like shoegaze or bedroom pop or whatever.
It could have been anything. I could have been making reggae, and some reggae blog was going to be like, hey, like this is like what I need to like put out there.
You almost wanted to do it.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit of fatwa. No, I stopped myself.
Yeah, good idea.
God damn it. No, like, but you feel me? Like, I don't know how much of that was just them also creating content for their thing.
Right.
I just happened to be a part of it. Whatever, it's fine.
It's kind of sad, but yeah.
But it's and it's fine. That's the way that ecosystem works.
Right,
bro.
right.
We all support each other.
Sure.
The scene that celebrates itself. That's really what that is. Because when I was participated in all that, it felt a little like circle jerky, bro. It really did.
Gotcha.
And it felt very almost like kind of like school in a way, where it was just kind of like, well, these people are going to be popular. There's no reason why, but let's just make them popular.
Gotcha.
And that's why, like, and that's how that worked out. I don't really care about that shit. Like, you don't need to go down that road. Now I understand why people say you don't need a label, you don't need all these things, because you have. The whole point of those entities were to give you money so that you can do the expensive recording and the expensive music video. Now you can pay for those things yourself.
Yeah.
Like, because they're more accessible. They don't cost millions of dollars to make this super hi-fi video of some shitty song that you recorded. Like, it's doable. It's within your own reach, right? I kind of want to experience that a little bit. I do want to do it. I get a little scared because I don't want to end up on catatonic youth. But I do want to try it at least once, just to say like, hey, I tried it.
Right.
I put money into a really nice recording. I put money into a really nice music video. I put it on all the platforms that I was trying to put it on.
Yeah, you just want to be like, I chimed in with a haven't you people ever heard of Raul Gonzalez Jr.?
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my God, bro. Rolling up a joint in the back of the club. No, thank you, bro. No, thank you.
I don't even think that sample was cleared for her.
I know. She tagged
Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, like I was like, dang,
oh man,
brave. That's all I'm saying. Because for me, like, I think I'm like at a point where like I've made songs, I've recorded songs.
You've kind of done everything except.
I've played shows. You know what I mean? I've done everything except. And if I can't keep chasing this idea. Like, if I record a song, no matter how good it is. And I just try to just put it out and have all these expectations of what it's gonna do for me. Right. That's a bad mentality to have.
Sure.
I can't be doing that.
Yeah.
That doesn't work, and it's been proven because trust me, I've how many songs? Like, I've done it a lot, man. And it's never worked.
So it's you're. It sounds like you basically are at the point where you're like, I just want to know what it feels like to go the whole 9 yards. Whatever,
or just participate in that song and dance, of that type of, like, you know, that path.
Yeah,
let me try it.
Yeah, and then at least you'll know
if it worked.
If something came of it, great. If it didn't,
and from what I've been seeing with social media and how social media operates and posting and YouTube and everything, it does work. It really does work if you get the right producer that does what you need them to do. If you wrote a pretty, you know, good song, and if the videographer is badass, if you check all those boxes, you'll do great.
Right.
I've seen it happen for people tons of times. I've never done that, so that's why it's never happened for me.
So it's like an experiment.
It's an experiment. Yeah. Like, I want to see it happen. Now, I do all that, and I get one stream, and I get one music video, one view on the music video. Right. Then I can quit. I'll be like, nah, I just suck.
Well, I wouldn't say you suck, but, you know.
At that point, I feel like that would be concrete evidence that it's just like people are just sincerely uninterested in anything I have to do, because not even the algorithm is like, bro.
There's just so many other things, though.
There really isn't,
see,
man. There really isn't.
Because what if it's a certain day and the algorithm is misbehaving?
But see, so you take it down and you post it.
Right,
But you have a little bit of control over that. Like you can research. Like, all right, what's the best day and time to music? You've heard of New Music Friday, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You drop it on Friday.
Yeah,
Boom.
yeah,
That's it. Solution.
Well, and again, all of this discussion to tie into, I don't know if I want to care that much. And I think.
Well, see, so that's the thing, man.
Because I understand where you're coming from. I think it's worth it. I think it's an investment. I'm not saying it's not a good investment. Because if you want to find out how good something of yours can do, you got to run the rat race. You got to actually gamble.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
You got to put the ball on red or whatever.
Yeah.
And after you've kind of got all of the ducks in a row, and you got the producer, and you got the video, and you got everything, you got a song that you believe in more than anything. I feel like that's the key. And then put your chips in and see how it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Right now, the way things are going, I don't want to necessarily do that, even though I've probably said that, like, oh, I really want to do a music video. I want to do all these things.
Yeah.
A lot of it is, I'm really starting to see that I just want to
play shows.
To do the joy of participating in music somehow. Writing songs, maybe playing some shows. If I get an opportunity and I see, if I get the feeling, if I wake up one day and say, today's the day that I'm going to make a music video, I don't me and planning don't always get along, so I don't know if it's sustainable for me to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, if that's not even the way that I operate.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at too. Like, the only reason I bring up those examples is kind of like I've kind of realized like that's the only thing I just haven't done yet.
Yeah.
Because at some point will I do it?
I don't know, but because
it does cost money.
It does, but I've also, I think you plan well. You plan even in your songs. You plan in a way that I don't. And so when you were saying like, oh, the people that just let it flow, like they figured it out, I was like, I don't have any shit. I'm not a good planner. And I know that you can develop that. I think you're a good planner. You have, when we've talked about the way that you develop a song, it's a completely different process than mine.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm groping in the dark, and you're like, no, I sit down and I select chords, and I select a key, and I select this, and the meter of the lyrics kind of falls into the measure, and I'm like, okay, I don't think of it that way, and there's nothing wrong with that. That probably explains why you're so prolific, why you've made so many songs, and that's probably why I don't really have as much output. But the good thing is you can always wake up and say, I'm going to do things differently today.
Yeah.
Has that occurred to me in my process? No. Maybe that just speaks to the fact that I'm kidding myself and I don't really want to get invested that way.
I mean, dude, you are lining up some opportunities too. Like, you're going to go record. Like,
they're all things that came up.
But that's kind of the way it works, man.
Like, and that's true.
You know what I mean?
But it's almost like I'm relegating myself exclusively to that stuff. I'm going to make sure that I'm ready for those opportunities, but I don't necessarily want to grind. That's
the thing, though, dude. I feel like that's the falsehood of all this. There's no grind.
There's no actual
grind, bro. Like, okay, you can you say right now in this moment that you have a song that you would want to record?
Probably several. Yeah.
Like, but let's just say one for right now. Do you have a song that you're like, all right, I'm gonna pick this song to go record?
So I had to do that because we are going to record on the 12th. We did some flip-flopping because some of the band members were like, hey, I think this is a better representation of what we do. And I'm like, okay, I can agree with that. So yes, there is a song. This, I don't know what this says, and again, maybe this is just my mentality right now, but if something happened and they were like, actually, we can't record that date is gone. I don't know if I'd be broken up about it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I think it's less so that you care about doing it. It's more so that you care less about the obstacles that come with it, the change that comes with it, the having to pivot in the middle of it. Like, because I can see how, like, if there's some aspect of it that's different or changed, or there's an obstacle, or there's some kind of like annoyance to like an element of it, how that would deter you.
Right.
You are still, you're still booking shit. You're doing a lot more than me. You're sending tons of emails. You set up this show.
Right.
You know what I mean? You set up the show, not me. If you did not do this, I would not have a show that day.
I mean, yeah, I'm aware of
it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, as much as I think, I get what you mean by not caring, but it's not that, like, you don't care to do it. It's that you don't care to let it bog you down. And I think that's good, man. I think there's strength in that.
Right.
I think, like, if, you know, you're not, if this, say what you're saying is like, all right, that date got eaten up and I have to, like, record some other time.
Yeah.
I have to feel like you would figure it out. I think you would pivot into something else easily, and it wouldn't like weigh you down, and you would just be like, all right, well, now I have this other opportunity.
And honestly,
and I have this song now, and hey, you know what? I went to this place, and there's this guy that does videos, and now I have a music video lined up.
And
that's how you do stuff. I've always known you to be on that type of shit.
And I feel, and it's a refreshing thing to buy into, because I would get deterred before, or I'd get really down on myself, and of course it would always kind of go away, and then, you know,
because I feel like, from what I would remember, like how you would react to you took it almost like a personal, like, attack, like, and it never was,
and it's not ever.
Sometimes shit doesn't line up, like, exactly. and that's okay.
The worst is when things felt like they didn't line up, and I'm like, well, bro, you didn't even do anything to line it up for yourself anyway. Like, recently there was a show that I told Kayla, like, God, that's exactly the bill that I would want to be on that show. Mm-hmm. And I was like, but I can't be mad, because I wasn't the one that tried to organize that show, put it together. Why am I going to get mad at something that came together for somebody else because they probably put in the work when I did nothing to put in the work? And I'm still mad at the universe or whoever that it's not happening for me. Yeah. That's my problem. And that's the conversation that I've been having with myself a lot lately. Like, where is this self-centeredness coming from? And so there's been a lot of awareness that I've had to cultivate in myself, to be like, okay, you grew up and you had a lot of things handed to you. So there's probably an element of, like, entitlement. And then at the same time, there's this reaction that I've been having, because even in spite of feeling very privileged and entitled, which I was and am, I've also, either through genetics or whatever, I'm a big people pleaser, which is a very frustrating thing when you sort of put other people's, you know, needs or wants before yours, not having good boundaries for yourself.
But there's always this desire of, like, but I need something.
Exactly. And so you start getting bitter and aggressive, because it's like, well, I'm entitled, and on top of that, I've also still, you know, given my time and
done
energy.
my part.
Yeah. So where's mine? You know,
yeah.
But that's going to eat away at you.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you were lucky to be that entitled to begin with.
There's an element of gratitude that needs to be expressed.
100%. And most,
because you could have easily have struggled
100%. I could have been the person that doesn't have that privilege. And the thing is, all of that privilege I was handed in spite of still there being difficulties. You know what I mean? And so it's like, well, no, I try to be grateful, and sometimes it just takes a little bit more work some days to be more grateful than others. But I'm like, yeah, I can't just go my whole life thinking that this is just how it's going to be. I have to be entitled all the time. Yeah. And as far as the whole boundary thing, I just have to develop healthier boundaries. Yeah. I have to learn and say, like, hey, you can't be that person anymore. You'll get your opportunities when you get them, but the world still doesn't owe you anything just because you didn't have good boundaries before. Yeah. It sucks that you didn't have good boundaries. Now learn from it. Yeah. Because no one is going to... They can give you tools, but no one can teach you to have those boundaries. Yeah. You kind of just have to start...
That's another thing, too, bro, that
cultivating.
I'm starting to realize. You know, you can have the best teacher in the world, but if it just doesn't click for you,
it's not going
to click for you. At some point, it may, as the more time you put into it. Yeah. But it's like, dude, mental clarity is such a bitch sometimes, because that almost feels like gambling. Yeah. Like, especially, like, I'm going to give, like, a random example. Like, exercising. When I finally got back to, like, lifting, because I'm going down to the downstairs gym again to, like, lift again. Right. I was pretty consistent with it for, like, about, like, 4 months last year. And then I had my wisdom tooth surgery. And I didn't do it for 2 months, and then or like 3 months. No, yeah, like 2 months, and then I had to get fillings in, and like they were like super painful. I had to do 8. Yeah, talk about bad teeth, right? And then January came along, and we're like, all right, New Year's resolution, let's do Pilates. But the way I like formed that was like, well, I'm gonna go do this with Nicole. Like we're gonna do it together, so I don't have to go downstairs to lift anymore. Right. which I shouldn't have stopped doing that. But then like I did Pilates for like 2 months and then I hurt myself, quote unquote.
Right.
And then I just didn't go back for a while. Now I'm going back. I started this week to go lift and stuff, but I have such a clarity on it now for some odd reason. Because now I'm like, I used to go to the gym with this mentality like, all right, I need to look at the number that's on the weights. I need to really like soak that in and be like, I'm stronger than that.
Right.
So I make it heavier and then I'm lifting, but I'm not thinking about like my form. I'm not thinking about technique because I don't know about any of that, right? I'm just like, I'm going to push it.
Sure.
And then it's going to come down. I'm going to push it again. This is like for benching, right? Let's say that, for example. And then I go and I've always lifted like that. And I talked to my friend about it. I was like, I had such a weird like moment of like, oh, I can just put low weight. It's light, but I could be more controlled about it.
Yeah.
And then I started feeling this like stretch where it's just like,
that's how it's supposed to feel.
That's how it's supposed
exactly.
to be.
The form, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The thing is that when my doctor told me that, oh, you just need to stretch more, and he taught me all these stretches to do, I've been really into stretching since like I went to my doctor in like February.
Right.
So I just stretch all the time now, bro. Like that to me is more of a pastime in recent times than anything else that I've been doing. Right. I just stretch so much now. I feel like I'm so more flexible and and it just feels good, right? I didn't realize that stretch that you're supposed to be feeling is what you're supposed to be doing when you're exercising.
Right.
I never tied those two things together, which look, if you think about it, makes sense because look how I got injured, quote unquote. Like I'm so tight like that, like I'm not stretched out, but because when I work out, quote unquote, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
How was I supposed to know that? When does the mental clarity come? When does the aha moment happen that like, oh, it's because you were doing it wrong this whole time?
Right.
Like, and those are things like that where it's like you almost a little bit to some extent have to gamble on mental clarity and like understanding that like, oh, I didn't realize that I was like this
or at least
or doing this wrong.
Yeah. Or at least trying to get as much like information or instruction because like there's just it just makes me wonder like there's so much to know about everything. Mm-hmm. Like there's no possible way to know everything. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to read your body and you have to like kind of pick up on things. That's why Kayla's been going to personal training because she just wants to be able to equip herself with enough knowledge that she can do it on her own. Yeah. You know, and that's probably still not enough. Yeah. You know,
Seka and I were talking about college recently. How he's just like. We've kind of been both at this stage of life where it's just like, I feel like we're talking about like feeling like entitled or whatever and having that kind of like really internalized in you. I'm trying to make measures to like circumvent that, right? What I've learned about myself and something that Seka is also realizing too, like about himself, that like we both feel, but I'll speak more for myself in this moment, like, bro, I grew up so lazy. I was so fucking lazy. I didn't care. I didn't want to get up to do anything. I didn't want to go out to do anything. And I'm still like that. I'm so lazy.
Yeah.
Fighting myself to get up to go do something is my number one challenge every single day. I'm so damn lazy.
I feel that.
It's such a struggle. It needs to be fueled by dopamine or endorphins or something, or else I will never get my ass up.
Yeah.
Like, it's so bad. Having realized that, it makes sense. I rush through it. It's the reason for my impatience.
Right.
It's the reason for my half-assed like way of doing stuff. Like, I'm realizing all these things, and now my new favorite pastime is taking my time.
Yeah.
And doing things slowly and concentrated and with intent. I keep bringing that up whenever we talk. Doing something with intent.
Yeah.
Like purposeful actions towards what you're trying to do.
Right.
Like, I would never do that before, bro, because it was always 100 miles an hour. 100 miles an hour.
Sure.
Even speaking, I talk so fast because I just want to get the thought out. Like, because I'm so lazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was running with my coworkers the other day, and he's like, it's funny how, like, it's like, we're doing it slow, and it's just this slow little, like, almost like trot. It's like it was a very, like, controlled gait that I just couldn't do.
Right.
I didn't know how to get myself into the motion of it. And I tried to, and I was just so clunky, so heavy, like, trying to, like, keep, like, do it, but they're going so slow, bro. And every time I was trying to do it, I was just kind of inching ahead.
Yeah.
Like, not trying to. And once we hit, like, the second mile, because, dude, the whole thing was, he's like, no, we're not trying to do miles. That's not the mentality to have.
Right.
Like, it's the time. We're trying to run for 45 minutes. Just at this pace.
The rhythm, yeah.
and I just could never get into the rhythm of it, and I had trouble with the breathing, and I had trouble with the flow of it, where it hit a point where I would just get tired, and I had to walk like a portion of it, bro, where it was just like I stopped to walk, and then to catch up to them, I would just sprint.
Yeah.
And I hit this point where I'm like, oh, this is just a reflection of who I am to some extent. Let me just rush to the next thing.
Right.
Because I just want to keep up. That's bad, man. That's bad. That's not slow and controlled.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard though. I mean, you can't be too hard on yourself, obviously.
No, like I'm not disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
I'm just aware of it.
How it's a reflection of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I noticed that too in the day-to-day, like just even something as simple as getting ready for work. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you're just rushing, and before you realize it, you're like, why am I out of breath? Why am I not relaxed? Mm-hmm. You end up taking the wrong mentality into the workplace because you're already like stressed or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot, man. And this goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. Like, it's hard. All the people, my hat's off to everybody that's able to kind of like compartmentalize, balance, segment their lives, because there's some kind of rhythm that maybe they had to or forced themselves into developing, where they know exactly the pace for something versus something else, and they go on to the next thing. Yeah. Like, I'm amazed by Kayla constantly, just the fact that she goes to work, she's finished with work, she transitions, she goes to the personal training, comes home, she'll make herself food, or we'll make food together or something, and it's just, and I'm like, man, like, it doesn't really feel like we have any less energy than each other. So like, what is it? You know what I mean? Like, there's just some
time
kind
management.
Kind of balance.
That's real time management, man. Giving yourself enough time to like do something and execute it like efficiently. Yeah, that's something I've never ever like had in my mind, bro, because it was just about getting it done. It wasn't about doing it good.
Right.
And that's where I'm at right now with like music. Now I'm taking my time with playing guitar and being more like aware of like every note I play has to be purposeful.
You know what's funny is that I think that approach is more likely to have an outcome, whereas if you're just doing something to get it done, then basically everything just becomes like a checklist. And there's really no end game, or there's no like next thing.
Now think about your mentality with that when everything's just a to-do list.
Yeah.
You feel like you have a never-ending to-do list. Basically. Have you ever had a job where it's just like you do all the tasks that you need to do, and then once you get them done, hey, guess what? Next day it's gonna be the same shit.
Yep.
And it's never-ending.
Yep.
Imagine doing that with your day-to-day, your whole life.
Yep. That there's never actually a goal. It's just, oh, I did the checklist.
Yeah. So, but this is the way you frame your mind with it. It's just like, no, like things I have to do in my day aren't a to-do list. It's an opportunity to do something excellently, efficiently, with purpose, with mindfulness, you know?
Yeah.
But it's hard to understand that without like understanding it, I guess, is like a crude way of saying it. It's like, if you don't know, how are you gonna know?
Yeah. You just gotta make yourself aware.
And it comes with time. That's why sometimes I feel like I'm at a point right now where I feel like a little bit of like mental clarity is like kind of a gamble. It just at some point it pops up.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not a good thing. That's not a good way to think about it, but that's where I'm at right now.
Well,
I'm working towards having a little bit more.
And that's, I think, more than anything, that's the key, is that if you keep doing it, that becomes the routine.
And you know what it started with?
Yeah. The drums.
Because I don't play drums, so it's like I have to learn this thing, but how do I learn it properly? So I started being like, all right, well, like, let me just do it piece by piece, segment this thing, so I'm not just playing all like sloppy. Because I've seen other people play where it's just like you can tell, like I play guitar the way they play drums, which is just like to get it done.
Yeah.
But now I'm trying to be purposeful about it. Every hit is for a reason to fill this grid that's a song.
Right.
And now I'm trying to do that with guitar, and I'm realizing, oh my God, every guitar part I've ever recorded and have ever played is not fitting in this grid. Not, at least not 100%, maybe 80%, like for the most part.
Right.
Oh, oops. I've been just trying to get it done the whole time.
Right.
Same thing with vocals. Trying to get my voice more like I'm trying to fit this grid perfectly, because this is the way it's going to sound most efficiently executed, because I'm trying to execute this thing. I'm not trying to just get it done.
Right.
And that started transferring over into other things. Now exercise.
Right.
Now eating. Now my job. Like it's like, oh, I just need to just take my time with stuff. I just need to do stuff slower.
We need to go touch some grass.
Yeah, man. It's just, slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. I think that brings us
Palinkable.
Cody
Rhodes and Adam Duritz suck.
Full circle.
All right, so cool. All right, man. This is a good episode. This kind of
went a lot of different directions.
But I think the main focus is, if you had to like summarize what we were talking about today, what would you say in one word?
I think clarity is one.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's a gamble.
Yeah. There are two different types of control. Things you can't.
Yeah.
And things you can.
Definitely. But I feel like the more that you accept that you can't control everything, you will ultimately have more control.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think.
Over yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the more in control you'll feel.
So what if you can see
the darker side of me? All right, man. We'll catch you on the flip side.